getting some steam in here and allowing it to come through. And because this is acrylic, it's a fake hair, and as I start to brush it, you're gonna turn it into something completely different. And I've seen people where they do it on YouTube and they end up with, sorry about that, there. Okay, so now we're really getting that pretty straight pretty fast. And they do a lot of things, I think, that take a long time. Nobody's used the technique that I'm using here, and it really goes pretty fast. You just want to be able to make sure that if you want any curl left in it, that's a tricky thing to do because it's automatically going to start just losing its curl. And it works very fast, and that's why I call this technique Wig Rescue 911, because it's really fast. And if you're in a summer stock theater, and in summer stock theaters, especially repertory theaters, they use the same actors over and over again. So they never want them to look the same. They want an actor, Stanley Tucci, for instance, right? He's, I think, 99% bald. He's mostly has no hair. But every time you see him in a movie, he looks different because they've given him some facial hair. And it's incredible the versatility that that actor has. It's like when I see him in a movie, I always stand there and say, oh my God, that's Stanley Tucci, because he always looks different. And it's a really good teacher that I met in a master class when I was acting and dancing said to me, you have to lose any sense of vanity to be a strong character actor, because you change your look in like 100%. And every time you do a different role, you end up being able to invent your character from the ground up. And it's really kind of like, you can't think, oh, I don't look good, or there can't be any vanity in that. So here we go, put that there. And I'm just holding this, but it's a really fast one. If I was going to spend a ton of time on it, I would pin it really carefully to the headlock. I'm just going to go around and just straighten it a little more one more time. But that happened really fast. And if I go and take the brush one more time, it's really completely straight now. So you can kind of start there and figure out what kind of style you want. This wig, I think, it doesn't have like a skin hairline like underneath. A lot of times you'll see like a plastic piece of what looks like scalp on the wig itself. And that's kind of nice if you're doing something with a part. This. There you go.
Oh my God!
It's like, it's got its life. Alright, it's a little spooky for her. It's like the snake that comes alive. Alright, so when you are doing wigs like this, right? If you have a hard hairline, which this wig definitely does, what you want to do is figure out how you can soften it. So a lot of times, if you have a wig that has the hard edge, what was that?
So it's almost like a mullet now. Like if you were to smooth it back.
Alright, could go there, push that down. Alright. So the steam always wins. It's gonna always take away whatever was there.
Oh, would this damage like real hair? Like if you do this on a real hair wig?
No, because you can set human hair and put it in a dryer. It would certainly make it kind of limp because it's humid. So, or it would make it frizzy, depending on what. But you can see that this wig has these bangs, and depending on the period, you would set this and make it either smaller curls or do something else. And you could work with this so that all of this gets curled again, maybe in like a big 60s flip or something like that, back brush up here and get a lot of lift. So you take a wig that was kind of ratty and kind of ugly and not doing anything but taking up space, and then you're able to like turn it around. Because with this, you could definitely get a soft hairline in spite of the fact that underneath there, you have what looks like this. And it's just really hard. So if there's a wig that doesn't have a ventilated front, that lace front that the human hair wig has, I always take some of the wig hair and just cut into it some bangs. So it's going to be able to be used that way. There's also, if you kind of study the history of makeup and hair, there's a wonderful book by Richard Corson, and he really documents all sorts of different period hairstyles. So you look at that and you see where you want to go with it. But it's a fun way to begin to stylize a character. And in terms of like resetting this one has layers. So I would look at where the layers are and see, do I want to curl it up or down where I want that hair to go, and what's the style itself. If I want to turn this into like a little 60s bob, I take this and back brush it and lift up down here, really back brush that, so that some of the hair like goes over that hump, and then take some big rollers here and give it that like Marlo Thomas like flip. So it's just not that hard to do, and I'll show you the setting in a little while. What I'd like to do first today is, when we start to do the skin, is how do you deal with like cuts, scars, bruises, burns, and things like that. So we'll do that. But at least you have a good, fast way to not be afraid of working with a wig, because I think most of your characters have something like that. So when we start working over here, we'll add something to that that's a little crazy.